Do you know where your bass player is? He's in custody for filming himself driving 179 miles per hour on a public road and posting it on social media. Yep, a Norwegian guy did that. Guess he's a bass player.
All right, I'm sure this is pretty obvious to most of you guys out there, but if you're going to break the law, don't videotape yourself doing it, or make sure there's not a whole bunch of cameras around to catch you in the act. Like John Schaefer, formerly from the band Iced Earth, figured out the hard way. Worst of all, he's a guitar player, should have known better! Hey everybody, how's it going? It is Friday, March the 19th, 2021. This is SMG Viewers Comments, my weekly show where I answer your comments, questions about recording and being in bands and all that kind of fun stuff to the best of my ability. If you've got a question about recording and if I think it'll help the community at large, I'd be more than happy to put it on the show. So please leave a comment below. Anyway, let's get right to it.
Gibson is pure evil. Dave made a poor choice.
Oh man, yeah, let's get right into it. You know, I've kind of been struggling with this question over the last couple weeks, and I really do need your help on this subject. So, what's your opinion? Is Gibson pure evil? I think at the corporate level, they definitely have some questionable morals going on. I mean, like suing smaller manufacturers, that kind of stuff really isn't too cool. The whole Gibson versus Dean thing isn't too cool. But I also understand that there are a lot of people at Gibson who work hard for a living and would probably like a little bit of job security to go along with all that hard work. And that's not too much to ask. Now, of course, the big story over the last couple weeks has been Dave Mustaine giving the giant middle finger to Dean Guitars and moving over to arch rival Gibson. Now, the Gibson Mustaine Vs probably aren't going to appear until the fall. I'm very curious to find out what they're like, if they're going to be any good. And this is where I need your help. See, Gibson actually dropped me an email there about a week ago mentioning the whole Mustaine V thing. And I'm like, are you guys serious? You really want to do a review on my show? And they're like, yeah. So I replied back, okay, send me a guitar, but you guys don't get any creative control over what is said in the video. If you guys want a real review, you're going to get a real review. And I am not sugarcoating anything because you guys, the viewers, deserve the real story. And they were like, we're totally cool with that. Okay, I'm a little surprised by that, and I'm kind of actually a little impressed as well. That means they're willing to stand up to harsh criticism and put their reputation on the line. So I've been talking to a couple other YouTubers and a bunch of people are like, well, Gibson's fucking evil, what they're doing is wrong, and you'd just be giving them publicity, blah, blah, fucking blah. And I totally understand that point. The other side of that coin is this. I can't just sit here and act like Gibson doesn't exist. They're a major part of the whole guitar manufacturing scene. They're an American icon brand. They've been, yeah, we all get it. So I'm going to pose the question to you. I know I said a couple weeks ago that I wasn't interested in putting Gibson on the show, but the fact that they've stepped up and said, hey, we're going to put our money where our mouth is. We're going to let you evaluate this guitar and you can say what you want about it. I gotta admit that is kind of pretty cool on Gibson's part. So what do you guys want to see? No Gibson on the show, or do you want to see a very honest review? I want to hear from you guys.
Hey Glenn, I've been contemplating getting the Sun Alpha combo amp, something like the 112, 115, 210, etc. However, these amps were made in the 1970s and do not have the grounding pin in the plug unless someone has already modded it. I know you can solder a 3-pin, but I am in no way qualified to even think about messing with that shit. I would have to wait until all this plague shit is over and get it modded for me. I'm not stepping foot in a shop right now. So question is, how high is the risk exactly for someone to go wrong with a 2-pin plug on an amp, especially one that's 40 years old? Also, do you have any experience with these Sun combo amps? Thanks.
That's a fantastic question. Now, I've definitely encountered a couple of amps that are so old that they don't have a ground plug as well. In fact, my Trainer YB1A, which is just kind of off camera over here, had that same problem. Now, you're not going to kill yourself if you plug into the wall. The word of caution is, though, is if you touch something else with a ground pin, guess what? Guess where that excess electricity is going to go across? Whatever you touched that other piece of gear with. And in my case, we used to jam through this Trainer and we'd be playing along and everything was great until you went to sing into a microphone, which was hooked up to a PA with a ground pin. And yeah, you got a bit of a shock across the lip. That's definitely no fun. There's a reason why foam windscreens are a thing. Now, putting a ground wire on an old amp really isn't that big a deal, but if you don't know what you're doing, please, for the love of Crom, go to a qualified professional, okay? Because those kind of voltages, that kind of current can kill you if you get it wrong. I'm fortunate enough, my dad's an electrician, and a couple of years back, I invited him over here and I said, hey, Dad, I really want to ground this thing because it is a bit of a shock hazard. So we pulled it apart, put a new cable on, and grounded out the chassis. I remember I fired it up and it just sounded absolutely glorious. The buzzing was gone. It was just, wow. I remember my dad looking at me like, is that good? I'm like, hell yes, it's good. It's amazing. I should really do another video on it at some point. The Trainer YB1A has been often named the Canadian Plexi. This one's still got the original Phillips tubes in it. I did have a master volume put on it because it was probably the loudest amp I've ever heard in my whole life. But it is definitely an awesome relic from the past. Now, about Sun amps, I've been wanting to do this video forever, and since you guys really enjoyed that Ibanez Tone Blaster video I did there a couple weeks back, I'm going to do another episode of SMG Hidden Gems, and I'm finally gonna do a video on the Sun Beta Lead. That's gonna be out this Sunday, so punch the subscribe button, slap the notification bell like he's your bass player, and make sure you get notified when that video comes out. Once again, it'll be up on Sunday morning. I'm hoping for 10 a.m. Eastern time. Hope to see you there. Maybe I'll even do a premiere and hang out with that one. Oh, by the way, guys, if you watched my ultimate small gig rig video that I put up a couple days ago, I mentioned I was going to be giving away an Impulse of that Zilla cabinet, that vertical 2x12 Fat Boy that I demoed in there. That thing sounds absolutely ferocious. And yes, the Impulse responses are good to go. There's a pair in there. There's a 57 and a K47 on the WGS Green Beret speaker. And I'm going to be giving that away to you guys just for being fucking awesome, watching the show and all your support and all that good stuff. Link is in the description below. It's absolutely free. Go get it.
Finn McKenzie made a great point when he said the reason rap and hip-hop are so successful right now is because that scene glamorizes success, whereas so much of the rock, punk, metal community is underground right now because they glamorize the whole starving artist thing.
I think there's definitely some wisdom there. Yeah, why did rock get so serious? Why did rock get so politically correct? These days, it's hilarious. You watch modern kids review old music videos. Blah, 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 fucking blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, oh, get off your fucking moral high horse, all right? It was fun. What's so wrong about having fun? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, fuck's sakes. Okay, we get it. You're offended. Congratulations. You win nothing.
29 fret 7-string guitar doesn't make you better guitarist.
Well, according to the latest issue of Yeah No Fucking Shit magazine, you're absolutely correct.
You do not even know what a bass drum sounds like. It should be the note played like other drums so it can resonate. You're slamming the beater, holding it to the head so it cannot ring. You might as well be beating on my refrigerator door because you have no tone or shell response. I could get the sound of a $100 set of drums with sheets for heads. I am a 72-year-old.
Hey, Donald Knight, thanks so much for writing in. I really do appreciate it, but I have to ask you, what was the crowd reaction like when they invented the wheel?
Hey Glenn, I respect you for not allowing Gibson on your show because of their terrible business practices. However, I'd suggest Ernie Ball is far worse than Gibson will ever be. I'm no engineer, but I am a luthier. I've seen others in my community, small private luthiers, being harassed over using a 2x4 tuner configuration. Somehow, EB managed to patent this even though they didn't invent it. And no, not the headstock shape, but how many tuners can be on either fucking side. One guitar company suing another is shitty, but a huge company suing individuals is especially so. But I'm curious, how do you think about this kind of shit?
Wow, okay, we already hit the Gibson issue. Now apparently Ernie Ball is another evil corporation. I mean, I've never had any of the Ernie Ball guitars on the show. I mean, like, I've had their strings on, I've played them for years. I think they're great. But Ernie Ball guitars, yeah, never quite been my thing. I've never really dug the whole 4 and 2 headstock configuration. I don't know. Again, I can't really weigh in on this one because I don't have a horse in this race, if you will. Hopefully that didn't offend anybody. Seriously, though, if you guys have a comment on the whole Ernie Ball thing, especially them suing smaller builders, let me know. That does kind of seem like what I would call a dick move.
I worked my ass off for this contest doing Crazy by Seal. Unironically, I suffered a mental breakdown when making the music video, so I never got to finish it and submit. I'm still loitering around supporting it, though. Can't wait to see who wins. Good luck to everyone that followed the rules.
Oh, hey, man, you know what? I go through a mental breakdown in pretty much every single day over the last few months because of this freaking pandemic and lockdown and all the rest that goes along with it. Seriously, though, I can't wait till we start to get to go to concerts and shows and see movies and all that crap. Oh, I really miss all that stuff. Anyway, thanks so much for putting in the effort, even if you didn't get around to making a submission. Thanks to everybody who made Oldies But Baddies possible. Yes, the videos are still going to be coming. I think I'm going to try shortening the episodes a little bit because they just don't seem to be doing this as well as they did a couple years ago. A little support from you guys would probably go a very long way. We're giving away something insane, like somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000 in prizes this year. It's definitely cool. We've had some really great entries. Again, I'm going to try and put those out on Tuesdays or Wednesdays or something like that. I'm still kind of experimenting with just how long the episodes are going to be, but definitely stick around. Should be a lot of fun.
I would love to do recordings using my beautiful Star Classic Maple kit using my excellent Bear Dynamic drum mics, but it's just so damn loud and I like having neighbors who talk to me sometimes and not getting letters from council to basically shut the fuck up. So it's SSD5 from an E-kit, which I do play, but I don't fuck with the timing. But it does bug me having a great kit that I cannot record.
Hey, Steven, thanks so much for writing in. Now, your dilemma is something very common among drummers. Yes, it's very difficult in a lot of places to play full acoustic kits because they are so damn loud. Now, I don't know what your situation is, whether you have access to a garage or anything like that, but if you do, if you have a drum room you can access, I would highly, highly, highly recommend checking out the John Sayers Studio Design Forum, and he's definitely come up with some really cool designs to help modify a room or even a room within a room to make your drums quieter so you can actually practice on the real thing without having the cops called on you. It's definitely worth dropping by. The John Sayers Studio Forum is what I hit up when I was building this place, and I'm probably going to be in there quite a bit this year when it comes to building my new place. Hopefully that's going to happen. Of course, I hope to document the entire thing as well. Should be a whole lot of fun. Don't worry too much about having to practice on an E-kit. You're definitely not alone, and I think these days, I think there's probably going to be more E-kits than acoustic kits, to be honest with you.
The problem with home recording is not the gear. Correct me if I'm wrong, but mixing is much about making a heap of decisions on top of other decisions. And there is no roadmap, so it is good to have a producer who knows exactly what actually makes something sound good, e.g. somebody who keeps band members away from reverbs, boosting bass frequencies, and other stuff which ruins the mix.
Oh, dude, you're absolutely correct. That's the thing about mixing. It is decisions on top of decisions. It's all about give and take, and it's super easy to make mistakes, especially early on when you don't know what to listen for. It's just something you have to put time in to learn. So in that case, maybe tracking a guitar at home and then bringing your stuff into a studio to be mixed can probably help your whole production process out quite a bit. I think that's happening a lot more these days. And then, of course, I hear from all my engineer friends about how all the dry guitar tracks they get are just terrible and they wind up just having to do rescue missions. So there is that. That is the downside to everybody doing it at home. So maybe I need to do a video on how to prepare your tracks when you're tracking, because that seems to still be a big problem. Actually, you know what? That's a great suggestion for a video. I'm going to do that. Thanks for the idea, dude.
Glenn! I'm currently deployed overseas, but will be returning home soon and will be hopping right into production for both my bands. Do you have any advice for things that they can get down prior to my return home? Also, how can I talk my guitar player into getting on board with tracking with real amps versus amp sims? Every tone he tries to use sounds super thin and lacks a tone that will mesh well with the finished product. Hope all is well with you and yours. Fuck you very much, good sir. Cheers from Kuwait.
Hey, John, that's a great couple of questions there. Basically, it comes down to tracking discipline, always making sure your guitars are tuned for every take, making sure you don't get any weird noises being picked up, making sure you're not putting your levels through the roof and clipping your signals, that kind of stuff. Just basic stuff that sometimes musicians tend to overlook. Now, about the whole real amps versus amp sim thing, you can get some fantastic sounds from amp sims, but it just sounds like your friend really doesn't know how to dial them in very well. I've definitely got a few tutorials on that, including how to mix amp sim guitars. I'm going to leave a link for that one at the end of the video. You can check that out. And once again, I'd recommend that he grabs the impulse response for that vertical Fat Boy that I just put out. That thing sounds absolutely fucking monstrous and is absolutely free. Don't sweat the real amp versus amp sim thing too much, though. You can get some absolutely magnificent results with a lot of amp sims these days. Even the Audio Assault Sigma for $15 sounds utterly ferocious. So don't freak too much about that. I'd worry more about what he's monitoring on, because there's a very good chance he's not in a good listening position and his speakers are lying to him. And for more information on that, go check out the video I just put out on Wednesday called How to Not Completely Suck at Home Recording. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Go grab that free IR.